friends, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking onto this video today. If you are new here, my name is Mads and I make bookish content. So if that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be doing my March reading wrap up. I had a great reading month for March. For me, I know some people on BookTube read like 20 books a month. I could never, but I read 10 books this month, which for me is probably my biggest reading month ever. So I really had a great time. I can't wait to get into these books with you guys and let you know what I was reading throughout the month. We're just gonna get right into the video. Grab a drink. I have my grape poppy. I've never tried this one before. And we'll just get right into the video. The first two books I read were on my Kindle. The first book was called Chasing the Wild, and that was written by, I have it written down, Elliot Rose. So Chasing the Wild by Elliot Rose. And that is the first book in a cowboy romance series. They are interconnected standalones, and they do have dual point of view. Definitely, they are a little bit taboo. The first book follows a girl who is trying to meet up with her ex-boyfriend so that she can give him his belongings that he left at her house before she goes out of town to take a new job. And she ends up at his house, and basically there's a romance between her and his dad. So it's an ex-boyfriend's dad trope. So you have to be into that sort of thing. You have to be in the mood to read something taboo. I think the second book in the series is like a step uncle trope. So at least in the first two books, we're dealing with age gap, romance, and then in the second book, there's definitely like that familial element. So not everybody's cup of tea, but I was in the mood to read something a little bit out there, a little bit controversial. I was in a little bit of a reading slump, and it definitely got me out of my slump. Now, was this a 5-star read? No, not by any means. Some of the dialogue freaked me out a bit, to be honest. It was just taking it too far, like just because you fell for your ex-boyfriend's dad does not mean we have to go all daddy this, daddy that. Like, gave me a little bit of an ick. But it was fun. It was a fun read. I would give it 3.5 stars. I would probably recommend it. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue on into the series, but the second book is called Braving the Storm. So we have Chasing the Wild was my first read. My second read I listened to on Audible, and that was Lights Out by Nevessa Allen. Finally. I know that so many of you guys have read Lights Out or listened to it. I listened to it because the audiobook came so highly recommended to me, and I am not upset that I made that choice. The man, I wish I had written down his name so that I could give him a shout out, but the man who voices the MMC on the audiobook deserves all of the awards. He sells it. Like, his dialogue, he's meant to be a dark, like, this is a dark romance. But the way that he reads these lines is so comical, and I found listening to him so enjoyable. Like, I forgot that I was even reading dark romance. I really enjoyed it. I'm a nurse, so I enjoyed that the FMC is also a nurse. She's a trauma nurse. And if you don't know anything about Lights Out, essentially it's about, like I said, a trauma nurse, and she has this guilty pleasure of watching thirst traps of this particular masked man on TikTok. So he posts these thirst traps wearing a mask, and she's into it. Sometimes he has like fake blood, whatever. Well, one day she's at work in the break room and she remembers that it's like his posting day. And so she pulls up his latest thirst trap and immediately is like, oh, that's weird. I have that comforter that he's filming on. And she doesn't really think much of it. She just thinks it's like this cool coincidence and whatever. Well, then she goes home and finds his mask on her bed. So he filmed his thirst trap in her room. So essentially, it's a stalker romance. His dad is not a good guy. His dad is a serial killer, and he it's just funny. Like the whole book, he's trying to figure out, like, am I like my dad or not? Do I have my dad's tendencies or not? And I just loved the com like the comedy aspect of a dark romance. It reminded me a little bit of Haunting Adeline. That MMC sometimes would say things that made me laugh, but this one was even funnier, and I thoroughly enjoyed listening to it on Audible. So I highly, highly recommend. And I know that the second book in the series will be coming out soon, so I can't wait to pick that one up as well. The rest of the books that I read this month, I have physical copies of, so I just wanted to get those out of the way. Also, keep in mind, I saved the best for last. I saved my favorite read of the month for last, so stick around so you can see my top recommendation. In honor of Sunrise on the Reaping coming out this month, I decided to reread The Hunger Games. And initially, I had picked this book from my TBR cart in my TBR cart picks my March reads video, which I will insert a card or something if you would like to check out that video. But I selected Hunger Games for the prompt of a banned book. Hunger Games is becoming banned in a lot of schools and libraries. So I picked The Hunger Games also because I knew the new book was coming out, and I have not read these since they initially came out. So I can't remember. Let me look. 2008. I was in the 8th grade when I read these. So I intended to only read the first book, and these are the new special edition paperback versions with the sprayed edges, which I just find gorgeous. You guys, this was phenomenal. It was such a quick read. It ended on a cliffhanger, so I went ahead and read Catching Fire, which was also phenomenal and ended on a cliffhanger. And so I went right into Mockingjay. And I have a few pages left of Mockingjay, but I'll definitely finish it out before the end of March. So since I read these books in middle school, end of middle school, beginning of high school, I really was interested to see, like, would they stand the test of time? I remember reading these as a young girl and just loving the world building, the dystopian aspect. I had never read anything dystopian before. Fell in love with that genre. And I wondered, like, as a 30-year-old going back, if it would have the same effect, if I would find it a little bit elementary, immature, these are YA. I was hesitant to reread them because they were so magical for me as a child. I didn't want to go back with a more mature lens and not feel the same way. But I was wrong. I found it just as magical as I did back in the eighth grade. I think I flew through them because these were such like a core memory of my childhood that I really remembered more than I thought I would remember from these books. It was a good refresher, but most of it was still up here, surprisingly. I feel like maybe the books were a little simpler than I remembered them being. Like, I thought that they were going to be super complex and that there were all these details that maybe I missed out on, or maybe I would understand more reading it as an older person today. But no, it really was just the same as when I read it as a young girl. I mean, I was mature for my age back then, so maybe I just got everything it had to offer back then. But this was a reread that I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed, and I highly recommend these to anybody. Next, I will be moving on to The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and I'm excited for that. I'm not sure if I will read that as a part of my April TBR or not. I'm thinking yes, but I haven't quite decided what I'm reading for April yet. The next book was another dark romance, but this one was a truly dark romance. This was Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRue. This is book one of the Souls trilogy, and as you can see, it says the best-selling TikTok dark romance. This was not on my TBR for the month, but I'm a mood reader. So a lot of the books that I was supposed to read this month, I did not. And I picked up some just based off how I was feeling. And I was in the mood for something dark. Lights Out, it was dark, but like I said, it was funny. I wanted like dark, dark romance. And this scratched that itch tenfold. This is a college student who falls for a demon. She's a college student. She has like a YouTube channel where she posts videos of ghost hunting and things like that. She basically accidentally summons this demon, and this is about their romance. It's this book is dirty. This book is filthy. I don't want to go into a lot more. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but just know like I would give this 4 out of 5 on the spice scale. It's very taboo. It's just check your trigger warnings on this one. But I did thoroughly enjoy it, and I'm going to be moving on into the next book in the series, maybe in April. I have high hopes for April, as you can tell. Um, but I had never read a book before about like a demon romance, and I actually really, really enjoyed it. You know, he's in like a human form for a lot of the book, so he's just like walking around her college like a normal person, and like she at the beginning is not aware that he's a demon from the underworld, um, and that he's been summoned to Earth. So yeah. I mean, this book took me outside of my comfort zone in the best ways. And as you can see, I'm like kind of building my dark romance library. So if you have any more dark romance suggestions, I would love to hear them. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Next up, we have Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. This is the first book in a cowboy romance series. I believe they are interconnected standalones. This was just all right for me. I feel like maybe if I would have read it at a different time, I would have enjoyed it more. But as I said, I'm such a mood reader and I just was not in the mood for like fluffy cowboy romance. I wanted like either dark romance this month or I wanted something like so emotional that would put me in my feels and make me cry. And like this fluffy cowboy romance, like it just wasn't doing it for me this month. I don't think it's anything against the author. Um, I actually DNF'd this, but I still might finish it. I just don't know if it's gonna be by the end of the month, but I got halfway through, you guys. Like literally I'm on page 175 and I just like was not really getting sucked in. I found myself like dreading the next time I had to pick it up. And there's just so many books that I really, really want to read right now that I just think life is too short to force yourself to read something you're not enjoying. So I might go back to it when I'm in more of like a cowboy romance mood because I do love cowboy romances. Like Elsie Silver really got me into cowboy romance and I think she does it so well. Um, Also, I've already bought like the next two books in this series, so I am pretty committed to it. I just couldn't finish it out this month. And I think it's because I got too caught up in the other book that is going to be the last book I show that I just dropped everything else on my TBR to focus on that. And this just didn't get finished, unfortunately. But I love the cover art. I love the premise. Clementine, they call her Emmy in the book, and she has had, um, she's like I want to say she's like a barrel racer or something. She's on like the horse racing circuit and she's in an accident which forces her to kind of uproot her life and move home because she doesn't know what to do with herself. She's very upset and she's terrified to get back on a horse. So she breaks up with her boyfriend, moves back home, and kind of reconnects with her brother's best friend. So this is like a brother's best friend trope, and he kind of walks her through riding again and gets her back up on the horse and etc., etc. They fall in love. It was just, it was fine. I just wasn't really in the mood for it. We have one more and then we'll get to the last book, which was my favorite read of the month. So, next up, I read Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy. I really liked this one. I really, really did. This is about a 19-year-old girl named Abby Bly, and she gets accepted into a study abroad program in London. And she signs up on this like website to have roommates. Well, her dad is this super overly protective guy. He's an ex-musician, like rock star musician who kind of raised her as a single parent since she was a baby. And he does not want her going. Like, he's not all about it. He knows what goes on um, late at night in London. Like, he does not want her going. And she ends up telling him, like, Dad, I'm going anyways. I need to make memories and step outside of the box, step outside of my comfort zone. So she goes thinking that she's going to be rooming with three other girls. And when she shows up in the middle of the night to the house, they're all guys that she's living with. So it's very like New Girl esque, but she ends up like having a crush on one of the guys that she lives with, and then she ends up having a crush with another guy that basically is a musician at this bar that they hang out at, and that guy has a girlfriend. So really the book is about her trying to just discover like why does she like both of these guys at the same time? Like, what type of person is she truly looking for? And she learns a lot about herself during this study abroad program. There's so much more to the plot than just the romance, which I thought was done really well. by Elle Kennedy in this book. There's this whole side plot about like this piece of art that she picks up at an estate sale, and there's a girl pictured in the painting, and this painting belonged to the royal family, and she goes on this big adventure, um, basically trying to find out like who is the girl in this painting that belonged to the royal family. And it's just a very interesting story. um, I I really liked it. Like I thought, I mean, it was nothing that's gonna live rent free in my mind or anything, but like as I was reading it, I really, really did enjoy it. I think I gave this one a 4 star, so that's pretty good. I would highly recommend this one by Elle Kennedy. I really liked it. And then I feel like I rushed through those books because all I want to talk about is the last book, and we're about 25 minutes in. I wanted to give some extra time to talk about the last book. So, drum roll, please. We have Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. You guys, my mind is blown. My mind is blown. Look at the tabs. Look at all the tabs. Like, I don't tab like this in a book. I've never. If you know, you know. Like, I don't want to give away any spoilers because I know when I watch these videos, it's because I want to get ideas of like what I could read next. So I don't want to give any spoilers. The writing in this is giving Magnolia Parks. If you didn't like Magnolia Parks, then you probably should not read this because the writing style is very reminiscent to me of the writing in Magnolia Parks. I was very hesitant to read this series, but I did because I have FOMO. And some of my favorite booktubers, book talkers were saying that this is their favorite romance of all time. And I'm like, why? I don't get it. I mean, young adult. How can this little YA book be your favorite romance of all time? Like, I didn't understand. I didn't get it. Um, the writing in this is phenomenal. The themes in this are important. I felt every single range of emotion when I was reading this book. And I just finished it before I filmed this, so hopefully I don't start crying when I'm talking about it. This book made me feel everything. Check your trigger warnings before reading this. Especially, there is a big trigger warning for on page abuse, on page child abuse, I would say, to the main character. It was heavy, but this book has done something profound in my brain. Like I'm shook, I'm gagged, like I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. I felt kind of weird going in reading a romance between teenagers. Like, the female main character is 15. I just turned 31. Like, what business do I have reading about a romance of a 15-year-old? But it wasn't like that. You know, like, I feel like anybody can read this book, no matter your age. I mean, the author recommends being 16 or older, and to me, that's even a little bit of a stretch. Like, this was very mature for a YA book. Like, the on page events that occurred, like, this is a very mature book. So, I would say, like, if you are a teenager and you're watching this video, or if you're a parent and you're considering having your child read this book, just make sure they're mature enough and ready enough to handle these topics, because this is not like a fluffy romance at all. Johnny was raised so well. This book just brought me back, like, of those feelings of falling in love for the first time. Like, everyone remembers that, like what it felt like to fall in love for the first time. And, Johnny is this guy, he's almost 18, and he's been with a lot of girls. He's had a lot of experience, and he kind of gets involved unintentionally with Shannon, who's only 15. And Shannon is vulnerable. She's a victim of school bullying. She's a victim of abuse, which he doesn't even know at the time. But he he was just raised so well. Like, I just want to give his mom a hug. I do. Um the way he handles her with such care and really tries his absolute hardest to steer clear, because he knows that he's too old for her, and he knows that she's delicate and vulnerable, and he would rather deny his feelings for her than have her enter into a relationship with somebody that potentially might not be good for her. And I don't want to give any spoilers as to what comes to be between Johnny and Shannon, because for a lot of the book, it is very up in the air, and the book ends on a cliffhanger. And I will be jumping into the next book, which is Keeping 13. It's on my bed right in front of me, ready to go as soon as this video ends. But I will just say I didn't see this coming. And I think if you've been wondering if you should read it, this is your sign to do it. I think if you've been worried about the fact that you're too old to read it, just read it. It's not like that. It's not like when you're reading an adult romance or a fantasy romance and you're like, oh, Zayden, like, he's my book boyfriend. No, like, this is almost like you're looking from the outside in, and you just feel so much for this couple. You just feel so much for Shannon and everything she goes through, and you empathize with Johnny, and you're rooting for the two of them the whole book. Um, I'm like a better person because I read this. Is that too deep? Is that too far? Probably. I mean, like, I'm just gonna say it. This might be my best book of 2025. Like, we'll see, but it's gonna take a lot to beat this book for me. Like, I feel like this and Onyx Storm right now are gonna be battling it out. This beat out Magnolia Parks for me, which is a big deal. I haven't even made a video about Magnolia Parks yet because, like, I don't know how to do it justice. And that's how I feel right now. Like, I don't even feel worthy to be speaking about this book. I really don't. 6 stars. 6 stars. No complaints. It's long. It's about, let's see, 600, it's 603 pages. This is the type of book that, instead of like flying through it because you're enjoying it so much, which when I say I was enjoying it so much, you can trust I was enjoying it. However, this is the book that you you hold on to every word and you take your time because you know that you'll never be able to read it again for the first time. And that's like making me tear up to even think about. Yeah. So I had a really great reading month, you guys. I did. I read 10 books. They were all, 3 stars and above for me. I feel like I'm in a depression now over Binding 13. Like, I shouldn't have talked about that because now I'm triggered, but that's why I saved it for last because I knew I would not be able to talk about it and then move on to the others. So I just gotta like shake it off so I can finish out this video. I think for April, I'm gonna be doing like an unwrapping my TBR. Like, I'm gonna wrap up all the books, number them, and then either use like a random number generator or I might just like draw numbers out of a jar. And I might pick like 4 books from that way so that I can leave myself room to be a mood reader, which is my true self. My true self cannot stick to a plan. I'm a mood reader at heart. So, anyways, if you've watched for this long, I want to thank you so much for watching the entire video. Why don't we do Why don't you leave a purple emoji down in the comment section if you watch the whole video so I know who you are and can say thank you. Other than that, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. My analytics are showing me that like 85% of you guys who are watching my videos are not subscribed, so please, please subscribe. It would mean the world to me. I have goals I'm trying to reach, so that would mean the world to me. And also, it was just my birthday, so that would be a great birthday gift to me if you would just please subscribe to the channel. I know maybe some of you guys have noticed that I've been putting out some bookish ASMR. I just want you guys to know that I am going to continue making normal content like this in addition to ASMR. The ASMR will be on its own playlist. So if you would like to binge those videos, those will be there, but I will still have my normal content as well. I hope you guys are doing well wherever you are. I hope you're having a great morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're watching from. And if nobody has told you today, you are loved and you are cared for. And if today's not a good day for you, tomorrow is a new day and things will get better. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.